you're thinking about moving to Franklin, Tennessee, I've got some awesome things about Franklin you're gonna love. In this video, I'm gonna share just some of the reasons we were voted number 4 best small cities in the South. And that's coming up. Hey, good morning everybody. Happy Saturday morning to you. My name is Andy Elliott. The name of my channel is Tennessee Real Estate, and my goal is to help you find your place. I'm going to be sharing 5 things about Franklin I think you're just going to love. I get a lot of questions about that, about Franklin. And number 5 is going to blow you away, especially taking the temperature of the country these days. And listen, if you're watching this as a replay, I'm going to include chapters and titles as we go along, so you can navigate the topics more easily. Sometimes I find that a little bit frustrating with live streams because they just wander. I want to do a different type of live stream, one that has a little bit of structure in the front end so you can find the information that you're looking for. And in the end, we can have open discussion. If there's somebody here asking questions, we'll answer those questions. So what do you say we get started with the 5 things? And we're going to start. Here's how we're going to do this. I've picked out some really good information, I think, for what you guys might be looking for. One of the main questions I get when folks call from out of town is what the school systems are like. And yeah, you can look it up. Like, for example, if you're wondering, you can go to greatschools.net, greatschools.org. I think both work. And it's going to help you determine if the school's good based on metrics, that kind of thing. But what I want you to know is whether you've got a family, which is going to be sort of a given. if you have kids, you want them to have a good education, best you can get, that kind of a thing. Getting this good school district is important. It really is. But even if you don't have kids, in terms of real estate, buying in a good school district makes a big difference on the value of the home and the resale value, because there's always going to be a demand for it, especially for families. So prices are going to be a little more stable in good school districts. And I think you're going to find that to be the case overall. So let's go to this. This is greatschools.net. I hear something. Oh, I wonder what that is. I don't know what that is. Here's the schools and the way that they're rated. For example, let's go to this guy here. It shows you the test scores above average, student progress, college readiness. That's really a good one. But it goes through each of the schools and gives you the quality rating of each of those. Now I'm going to just tell you, I think you probably know this already, that real estate in Franklin is kind of spendy. It's not outrageous, nothing like that, but it's kind of spendy. I'm catching some echo someplace, so I wonder what that is. But this is how you find out about the schools. And I find for a lot of people, it puts their mind at ease when they're coming in. If you're coming in from Idaho or California or wherever, you want to know what your kids are getting into, and this is a great way to find out. Now, Williamson County, let me tell you a little bit of a story here. Williamson County is one of the wealthiest counties in the South. It's one of the, it used to be one of the 15th, I think it's still in number 7 or something like that. But it's in the top 10, top 15 wealthiest counties in the nation, and the only one in the South that I know of as of about a year ago. And that means that the schools are going to be a little better. That's just kind of the way that works. But if you look up Tennessee on school education ranking, because I had somebody, I was telling them about this, and they came back pretty strong, and said, like Tennessee's ranked 49th or 48th. It's not very high by state across the country in terms of education. Williamson County is going to be an outlier. It is a different deal, and it is quite high. And the reason I want to show you this, and this isn't a bragging thing, it's just to help you understand. I'm not kidding. Williamson County Schools ranked #1 in the nation by schooldigger.com. Now, there's other ways, metrics and other things that rate that, so it may not be #1 with everybody. But the point of this whole conversation is it's near the top. So if that's important to you, how much do school districts affect real estate prices? The local school district is a factor with significant influence. That's a big deal. It's just not me. I'm not trying to sell you anything, you guys. I'm just trying to share information about Franklin. I live in Brentwood, which is right close to Franklin, and I love where I live, and I'm proud of it, and I'm proud to be a realtor here. This Elms Real Estate, by the way, but it's important for people to know about schools, and I'm probably going on a little bit too much about it, but it's important. And here's this morning I was doing a little bit more research about it, and lo and behold, this came up in Google: how to research school districts before buying a home or investment. And this is on a blog or website, probably a blog called Million Acres. So millionacres.com, you can search up this particular title, just to show you that I'm not kidding about the schools. So what's second? Let me tell you something. Franklin is an amazingly friendly town. In terms of, we've got a lot to talk about here. In terms of the community, they go overboard to make sure that there's plenty of stuff to do. You can go down to downtown Franklin, and I'm sure that first picture that I opened up with, that was Franklin, and that was fun to take. I'm really proud of that. They call that like Mayberry, the cute town, this nice south town in the south. Come on, get it together. It's a wonderful little town, and it's one of the few that has like a town square, and you can walk the streets with little shops, antique shops, clothing shops. It's a wonderful place to be. But the big deal is that it is family friendly. Let me show you this. This is really cool. For example, the Kids Arts Festival. Not much of a picture there. But that's where kids go down there and they show off their art. The Main Street Festival. What they'll do is they'll shut off the whole city. They'll block it off. And then you get to walk the streets, so to speak. I said that before. That sounds funny. But unencumbered by automobiles and stuff like that. They're big on that. They shut that town down more frequently than any town I've ever known of. But Arbor Day, I don't know so much about that. Touch a Truck, don't know about that really. But Franklin on the 4th, come here for 4th of July. It is a party. The Pumpkin Fest. I mean, the Pumpkin Fest, you have to, don't think, this isn't bad, but it's so busy they have to shuttle people in. You park off-site and they shuttle you in. The Pumpkin Fest is just fabulous. Look at the number of people on that. Can you see that okay? That's pretty cool. Shut down, okay. Wine down Main Street. If I'm not mistaken, that's where, I don't drink, so I'm not too much into that. But they have an art walk where you'll go look at art and drink wine and go from one place to the next. It's kind of cool. The Christmas tree lighting, that goes without saying. I wish they had a picture of the thing, but they don't. Dickens of a Christmas. It's a wonderful affair. People just come from miles around to see that Dickens of a Christmas. It is awesome. And one of the things that we've gotten, and it's not on this list, one of the things that we're kind of getting famous for is the Pilgrimage Festival. I think is what it's called. But the reason I mention all this is Franklin is awesome. If you have a family and you want to have stuff to do and you want that kind of involvement in a town, Franklin's the place. Franklin is the place. Another thing they go into the design is there's lots of greenways, lots of trails, lots of places. Don't know what that was. Got juicy. Lots of parks. These days, I believe that when there's a new development that is put in, like subdivision, I believe that there's a regulation where they have to have 10% green space. What they're Franklin has done really well. If you've been here, they've done really well managing the subdivisions. Now, there's going to be people that live here that say, we're full, and usually that's somebody that's moved in 2 years ago and thinks that there's no room left, right? That's usually the way it works. But there's people complain about growth, but Franklin is a beautiful, wonderful town. It's growing like crazy. Yes, they're going to develop, and I hope they continue, because you're either growing or dying. There's no in between on that. But 10% green space means that they have a respect for a little breathing room. You just have to kind of come see it for that, because it's awesome. Here's the 10 things to do. Now, look, and we're going to talk about that in a minute, I think. But if you're into history, I mean, history, Civil War, the Carton Plantation, a lot of these places, I think, one of these churches, most of these homes, if I'm not mistaken, were used as hospitals during the Civil War. It's steeped in history, and if you're into that, well, you'll never be bored, because there's places to go, places to see. I mean, it's an awesome place. Again, these are the nature and park things. Winstead Park, Timberland. I mean, they've done a really good job. The Franklin elders have done a really good job on making sure that there's nature. If you're a nature person, you're going to love it. Here's the park map. So you can see this is Franklin proper right here. Now, Williamson County, Tennessee is pretty large, but Franklin, here it is. Hopefully you can see that okay. I did dark on purpose. But these are all the different parks that you could go to, and they're really nice, and they're well taken care of. Man, if you like a city that is involved with the members of the community, Franklin is really a great place for that. Let's talk about some of the neighborhoods. Let's be honest. Housing is kind of expensive here. I've got a breakdown of the prices, but it depends on where you live. Here's the good thing about Franklin. There's a pretty good spread on house prices, from moderate to crazy expensive. I mean, who am I to say expensive, but luxury. So moderate to luxury. There's quite a nice spread in there. Now, I'm going to be honest, finding starter homes is going to be tough here in Franklin. But you've still got a lot of choices. One of the popular things, let me show you a couple of things. And the market's cooling off based on, how everybody was, it's been nuts here this last couple of years. People were paying crazy numbers over asking price. That happened a lot less frequently than people think. That $100,000 over asking price was not often. But as of late, the market's cooling down. The inventory seems to be picking up a little bit. At least check it out. If you're looking in the $400,000 and $500,000 range, I think you're gonna find something. And we could actually do a search to see what's selling for that. Happy to do it. But that's the way that works. I lost my way there. I'm busting myself when I make mistakes because you just have to do that. But when I do good, there you go. I'm all right with that. So let's talk about the neighborhood. These are just a few, and these are kind of the high end. But there's West Haven, and there's a place called Berry Farms. Show that in a second. What these towns are, what these subdivisions are they're called mixed use. And the idea is to live, work, and play there. The idea, again, is so that you can go home and you really don't have to leave. Shopping is close to by, whether it's restaurants or maybe in one there's a bar. I don't know how rowdy they get, but there's a place you can get iced tea, right? Some clothing shopping, but there's a grocery store, and it's right all in the same neighborhood. So you can in West Haven, what's big down there is golf carts. You can drive, and people are proud of their golf carts. I think that's pretty awesome. But live, work, and play. That's the whole idea. So you can come in home and you don't have to leave. Here's Berry Farms. It's a similar thing, perhaps not quite as prestigious as West Haven. You never know how things change. But it's the same idea where you can do shopping and live your life, go home and you don't have to leave very often. But a lot, of course, if you want to go into Nashville where the concerts and the symphony and, South Broad is, down the Honky Tonk Highway, you can go down there too. Here's another one, McKay's Mill. It's a little more moderate. It's really quite populated, but it's still a great place to live. Nice, clean house, nice neighborhoods. They got shopping tucked in there. It's nice. Let's see. And here's another one. This is not mixed use. Laurelbrook is sort of a top end kind of a place. But I'm showing you all these high end things, and here's what I really want you to know. Take a look here in Franklin, because there's some reasonable prices. I'm hedging on that a little because the market itself has been pretty hot. So but it's worth a look. So let's talk about the next thing. This is a pretty cool thing right here. The income for the average income of a Franklin resident is $40,000 a year. I think this is reasonably up to date. I'm hoping that it is. Look at the job market increase, 2.4% over last year. Again, I hope this is up to snuff, but it's growing. I know that it's growing anyway. Sales tax, of course, yay, there's no state sales tax in Tennessee, so that's good. But average income salaries for Franklin is that number, $40,000. Median household income is $81,000 a year. The U.S. average is $53,000. So that shows you it's kind of a prestigious neighborhood. Kind of, it's a nice place to live. It is. I think I've got. Here's this. Yeah. Housing by year built. Nah, we're not gonna. That one's confusing. But what we can talk about is what's the climate like. Come on. There we go. It's pretty moderate. The winter here, they talk about snow and snowbird reports, and I'm from Colorado. There's no snow. There can be. There was one time I got snowed in for a week because they have no plows, and so I got stuck. But there's very little winter. Summers are a little bit hot, but now that I've lived here for a while, it's not that hot. I mean, there's hotter places. Overall, the weather is great. Winter is really pretty mild. Fall right now is perfect. It's like free utilities because you don't have to heat or cool, Spring is nice. And summer, like I say, it can't get hot. You'll want to have air conditioning. You want to make sure you have that. But it's still pretty regular. So here's the cost of living comparison. Overall, now don't let this scare you. If the USA on average is 100, it's 135 to live here. what they're saying is housing is a little bit higher, as you can see. It's really quite high. Utilities are less. Part of that is because of the I can't remember the name of it. You know, the water MTA. Is that right? No. It's. I'll think of it. It's utilities when you get water. TVA, Tennessee Valley Authority, I think it is. I don't know what it is. Transportation is 100%. So when you're speaking of that, downtown Nashville, there are a lot of buses. I mean, public transportation is pretty easy access downtown. In Franklin, there's not a lot. There's the Franklin trolley, but that's really more of seems to me more of a touristy thing. If you were trying to work and depend on the trolley, that's probably not going to do well. So you'll need a car. You're going to need a car. Groceries, it looks like it's about on par. Health is a little bit less. If you know anything about this area, there's just, especially Nashville, I mean, there's some really Vanderbilt, I mean, there's some famous hospitals around, and there's a bunch of them. We aren't going to get into crime. We're going to stay out of that. So let's talk about the economy. We just did that. Anyway, the economy here is strong and it's healthy and it's growing. So if that's important to you, you're in the right place. It really is. So let's talk about the last one. Here's what I want you to know. Southern hospitality is a thing. It's a real thing. And hi, Joade. I'm sorry. I hope I'm saying your name right. How are you? I'm glad you're here. I didn't even see the comment. I'm not used to seeing comments. I'll get to your church question in just 2 shakes. I lost my way again. Oh yeah, the people, Southern hospitality. When I moved out here from Colorado in 2004, Colorado's a lovely place. It is a lovely place. But there's a difference between the Colorado approach to people and in the South. And I really wasn't aware of that. You hear about Southern hospitality, you don't think much of it. When I moved down here, I am telling you that people are nicer and they're kinder. And if you need help, they'll help you. I mean, through this pandemic, you would be shocked at the number of offers for people. Thank you, Jay. That's what I'll do, buddy. I kind of butchered your name. I'm sorry. During the pandemic, there were so many people reaching out to others trying to help. It was really kind of amazing. Southern hospitality is a thing. If you go to the store, it's going to be a minute when somebody's checking out like their groceries. They're going to be talking to the checkout person. How's your mom? She get over that sciatica? How's your dad? They're going to talk about stuff, and I'm asking you that just kind of get along with it. There's self checkout if you're in a hurry, because around here, they tell you if you're being rude. They're going to tell you. Let me show you something. This is kind of interesting. 6 qualities that define Southern hospitality as charity, and I'm telling you, it's true. It's true. Boy, it looked like I started at the bottom, didn't I? Politeness. How are you? Please, thank you. Open the door. That happens, and you can tell somebody that. I don't mean this to be rude. You can tell somebody when they just moved here because they don't do any of these things. Like if they're from, I'm not going to label a place, but if they're rude and pushing their way through, you can tell they're new to town. And it takes about 6 months for them to lighten up because people are going to start saying, oh, bless your heart. And, they'll be told that you need to be more polite. Good home cooking. Hey, I'm overweight because of that. I'm working on it. But the home cooking down here, have you ever heard of a meat and three? A meat and three. If you come visit in Tennessee, go to a meat and three. That's where you get one meat, whatever it is of the day. You have choices, but then 3 sides. Ah, woo, it's good. Kindness. People are really kind. They're helpful. These are all true. I won't go on and on. Charm. They're charming people. They really are, and you can misinterpret that. They're just being nice. Don't take that for more than it is. And like I said before, charity. So now I want to get to Jay's question. There are churches everywhere. I wonder if you'll give me a minute, I'm going to search churches in Franklin. Bear with me. See if this works. Oh, man. Yeah. Wish I could do this dark. I wonder why I can't. Hang on. Here we come, Jay. Can you see that all right? Good church. Want to move. There's a good Bible. Oh, man. Listen, you've got that. They say that Tennessee's the Bible Belt of the South, isn't that right? The buckle of the Bible Belt, I think is what they say. Here we're answering this question right here. But yeah, there's plenty of churches and they're easy to get to. I wish there was a way to do dark mode on this. Apparently there is not. But yeah, any other questions about the churches? Because there's plenty to be had. And I mean, now here's the thing. Here's another thing, and this is a personal observation. Wherever you're from, you're going to be welcomed here. The country seems to be divided. There's just some infighting and, it's people being rude. Well, we just talked about Southern hospitality. And to be honest, it's really not tolerated well. You may have seen, and I have to mention this because I always like to get ahead of it. A few weeks ago, we made national news with Biden about the Williamson County School District. There was somebody that was kind of threatening school board members. And it made national news. Well, it turns out the guy doing the threatening doesn't even have kids. So, I mean, what's his qualifications? But I can tell you that as a group, when you have conversations with my friends that are local, that live here, it was embarrassing. That's not our way. And I mean, you're always going to find those that are spoiling for a fight. I think that's the case. But if you'll come down here and people are open, who likes, being told what to do? Nobody does. So you're going to find it's a very welcoming and open. I have found that. I mean, good Lord, there's musicians around here. Can you get... Musicians are kind of freaky. And so, I mean, Nashville and the whole area is like, we're saturated with very famous people. What the reason they like it? Well, not only because of the music availability, but Nashville and the surrounding area has decided that if you're a star, if you're a superstar and you're walking down the street, people aren't going to be coming up to you for autographs. And I mean, there may be cases where that happens because tourists are kind of on the lookout. But the people that live here, they leave people alone, meaning superstar, people that are celebrities. It can be, because there's a ton of celebrities here from politicians and so forth. It's just on balance, it's a great place to live. And if you're harsh, people are going to tell you, that's not the way we are down here. And prove me wrong about that. So we've done pretty good. We've covered the schools. We've covered the city and how it's really community involved. If you like a place that where you can sink your teeth in, put down roots, you are going to love Franklin. The neighborhoods, I showed you the spendy ones. I'm sorry. They don't have pictures of the more modest ones. You'd have to Google map it, which that'd be fine someday. Happy to do that for you. And then the economy is growing. There's a lot of jobs. There's a lot of jobs, especially up in Nashville. So a lot of people will live down in this part of town and move up there or drive up to Nashville to work. It's a great place to live. One thing I forgot to mention, I think I forgot, is I'm going to mention this before I take off. I'm so pleased, Jay. I'm so glad you're here today. Thank you very much. History. If you're into history, Franklin is steeped in history, and some of it tragic. I mean, well, a lot of it tragic, but there's a lot of blood. What they say is there's a lot of blood in the ground. The Civil War, main battles were some of the largest battles were fought here in Franklin. I heard once that the Civil War started. I'll look that up in just a second, Jay. I think the answer to that is going to be yes, and I'll tell you why. But when it comes to history, if you're interested in that, you'll never be done studying on this. I mean, I know people that have moved here just because of that. I mean, there's hallowed ground cemeteries and things like that from both sides. Now, just be aware. This is the South. It's going to be Union and Confederate. So, but there's a ton of history if that matters. These are all the battlefields. Jay, I'm coming to you. Just want to be able to finish up, run a show. But these are just some of the battlefields. So if you're into history, that's going to be pretty cool. So we'll go back to this. I think I had missed. I think I forgot to put the web. Doesn't matter. History. I was looking at a website, not showing you guys. If you like history, I gotta go back for one thing. These are the. Did I show you this before? Or did I miss it? I think I missed it. But these are the battlefields. As a matter of fact, just a couple of weeks ago, I live here, and it's like I don't go enough. I don't go into the neighborhoods or to these things, and it was awesome. I mean, it was humbling. I mean, I was moved by it, is what I'm getting at. So, if you like history, Jay, buddy, I'm telling you, come on down, man. You're gonna dig it. Now, in terms of engineering jobs, I would think. I'm just talking. I'm a realtor, but the crane count in. Are you talking about civil engineering, or what kind of engineering are you talking about? Hope I spelled that right. Because if you're talking about civil engineering, mechanical, does that mean like water and utilities and stuff like that? Is that what that means? The reason I mention that is the crane count in Nashville. Let's look that up. Let's see what it is. 36 as of August in 2020. Jeez Louise. So that's ancient history. Big Mac proverb. Let's see. Oh, there's the crane count. So if it's civil engineering, I don't know the difference between civil and I don't know the difference between civil and I don't know what mechanical engineering is. But I'm wondering if this couldn't be a benefit. The bottom line is there's growth. There's a ton of growth around here. I mean, people are needing, companies are hiring. They are hiring. And so if that's what you're looking for, okay. Then there's going to be room. There's going to be room. Again, I'm not crystal clear on what mechanical. If I knew what that was categorically, other than mechanical, that would help. I mean, Amazon's huge around here. Do they do engineering? Probably. That sounded. Yeah. Have you ever been, Jay? Have you ever been down to the Franklin area, down to Nashville? I just figured out what the time lag is on that. It's about 4 seconds. Well, at any rate, hopefully today has helped you. I think I'm about done. What a fun! I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. And again, if you're watching this as a replay, I'm going to put the titles up as chapters so you can scrub through and get to the topics that you want. Hey Jay, thanks for stopping by. We're going to do more of these. Keep an eye on my channel. Oh, no. Oh, God, I love Californians. Hey, let's talk about that. Over the past couple of years, I've moved more Californians here than any other demographic. I've moved them from New York and Chicago, and I love California people. I'm telling you, whoever's watching this, if you're from California, I'm a fan. And you'll hear, don't let the people that are stupid bother you. The rest of us are very welcoming and open. There's always going to be those dummies that are less than kind. So you're from California, you're welcome. You'll see what I mean. People will treat you nicely once you get here. Just the trolls online, they don't on those guys. But the rest of us, we're good. We'd be happy to have you. What a fun time. Yep. Nope. You'd be welcome. And hey, listen, I think that probably does it for this day. I'm starting to drag on, but it's been fun. Thank you very much for showing up, Jay. I appreciate it. I really do. And good. Well, you'll do well here. You'll do well here if that's the case, because you're going to find similar company here. You're very welcome. You have a great day. Thanks a lot, everybody. Talk to you soon.